Do you think surrender means defeat? Think again. Today I'm going to show you how you can surrender and still win. Let's get into it. So how do you surrender and still experience victory, triumph, and not feel like a loser or a failure? I'll tell you how. You surrender to the truth of that situation and not to the situation itself. Yes, you can surrender to the truth of the reality of the situation without surrendering to the situation. But what exactly does it mean to surrender? A definition is to yield to the power, control, or possession of another upon compulsion or demand, to give up completely or agree to forego, especially in favor of another. Now, when you hear that definition, it doesn't sound like you're going to get personal victory. It sounds like you're giving up your rights in favor of another. And sometimes we can have a tight grip on a situation for fear of losing, or a circumstance can have us in a chokehold. We can find ourselves in deadly and dangerous situations. Yes, I said deadly and dangerous. Because any situation that you're in that messes with your self-worth, your self-value, makes you doubt it, is a dangerous situation. It's dangerous to our mentality, our emotions, and to our spirituality. And we can hang on to these deadly situations just because we don't want to feel like we lost. We don't want to feel like we threw in the towel. We don't want to feel like we gave up. And quite honestly, sometimes it's just our ego. It's bruised, it's kicked down, and we don't want to feel like another person got over up on us. But I'm going to give you 5 tips today that's going to bless you and help you move forward. Tip number 1, see. We need to remove ourselves, our egos, our pride, our hurt, and everything out of the situation and see the situation for what it is. You have to first see the reality. You have to become aware of the reality. And a definition for reality is the world or the state of things as they actually exist, as opposed to an idealistic or notional idea of them, which means we got to get real. You know, even when we say we don't know some things, deep down in our heart, we really know the reality of a situation. And even if we don't know, even if we've let our hearts deceive us or someone else has really deceived us, there has been someone to come along in your life that will tell you what the reality of the situation is. But often we don't want to hear those people. And what we'll do is get on a dangerous mission. I know I mentioned that, being in dangerous and detrimental situations earlier. But this is another one. We'll get on a dangerous mission to try to prove people wrong. And that right there, it deceives us even more, because even if we don't recognize the truth in our own hearts, we won't recognize the truth that someone else brings us. And so when we set out on these missions, we set out just to delay our own selves. Let me give you a little bit of wisdom. A person who does not have any emotional stake in your situation has no reason to lie or not give you an objective opinion about what they see. Now, it may not be the truth of the situation. However, they probably don't need to be attacked, or you probably don't need to go on a journey to prove them wrong. They have no emotional stake in the circumstance, so they're just telling it to you how they see it. Tip number 2, we got to accept the reality. And this is a hard one, I know. Once we see it for what it is, we got to accept it, which means we got to sit with it. We got to feel it. We got to grieve it. And one of the hardest things to grieve once we accept the reality is accepting the fact that we were once deceived, or we may have had a part in what happened with us. But it's okay. When you accept it, you open yourself up for healing. You open yourself up to be renewed. You open yourself up to get a brand new mindset to move forward. Yes, there are going to be some rough patches. Yes, you're going to feel angry with yourself some days. Yes, you're going to feel angry with other people. But I promise you, if you stick with it, when you know the truth, Even if you try to close your eyes to it, nothing will work like it once did before. Once you know it and you have accepted it, you are at a powerful turning point in this situation. Tip number 3, explore. Now that you're out of that situation or you're coming out of that situation, explore the options of the realities that you do want in your life. What do you want to see in your life outside of that situation? Okay, so you accepted the reality that that situation probably wasn't what you wanted. Are you exploring to see what you do want in your life, the options you can have in your life? Because you can't make another person do anything. All you can do is get in position for the things that you want to see in your life. And let this be fun. Don't let it be tedious. Don't be bogged down with it. It's actually an invigorating journey. Tip number 4, positioning. Now is the time to gently turn yourself to what you explored and the realities that you want, but then firmly plant yourself there. Listen to me on this one. You gotta change directions. I don't care like how long you sit and you gotta grieve and you gotta go through what you gotta go through. But when you get up, once you're done exploring and once you've made a choice, you have to position yourself to see that reality in your life. You have to position yourself away from what you were once bogged down with, and you have to change directions. This is when the wind of change is really taking off and putting some force behind you. That's why I say gently turn yourself, because I know that it's hard to change directions. I know that it's hard to go another way. And even, especially if like in the past, you've tried to turn and go another way, but it didn't quite work and you ended up going right back to where you were before. Give yourself some time and some space, but gently turn yourself. And once you turn yourself, plant yourself. Plant those feet firmly in the new ground, in the new plot, in the new territory that you are planning on taking. Because once you firmly plant yourself, it's harder to turn around and look back. And tip number 5, be kind to yourself. I know I just gave you these 5 tips on how to go through this journey of learning how to surrender and win and surrender to the truth, but it's a messy journey. It's not step by step. Sometimes you're doing step 1, you go to step 2, and it seems like you go back to step 1. I'm just going to encourage you, don't leave the journey. Stay in the journey. Be kind to yourself. It's not do step 1 on day 1, step 2 on day 2. No, take the time to learn yourself. Take the time to work through these processes. And when you hit a rough patch, take some time, pull back, and just be kind to yourself. Be gracious. Give yourself grace. You know, the journey that you're on is your journey. And as long as you're walking this earth, you'll be on this journey. I want you to win and to be free. So if you got any questions or any comments, drop it in the comments section. I would love to respond to you or make a video about it. If this broadcast was a blessing to you, please consider subscribing and liking. Or if you think it would be a help to someone else, share it with them. Until next week, grow in your authentic power and be blessed.